All right, everybody. All right. All right. It is Friday. It is going to be a great day. We've already had a little bit of a fun on the stream before you guys even started seeing it live. We're going to talk about objections that you may see out in the field as sales professionals, as payment professionals, as entrepreneurs who are going out and talking to merchants. And we're going to see how Mr. Brian and Mr. Danny answer those questions and those objections. All this and a lot of fun as we talk about, where are we in the world and celebrate some Pay Protect heroes. Coming up on the High Five.
The time has come, the questions are set, opinions hide, discussions are led, a show about nothing and everything, it's all the same. We've got sports, entertainment, sales, and marketing. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered. The High Five.
That's right, everybody. It is time for the High Five. So welcome to the High Five. And, well, it wouldn't be the High Five if I didn't have, two of the best looking gentlemen, one who overdressed. I saw it as Casual Friday, and I am going and repping my Go Blue today. Even though we may not be playing football, I am repping today. But Mr. Brian Linke, what in the world? A button down, no backwards hat, no t-shirt, looking good. How are you, Brian?
I'm well, Nate. I just figured I wanted to one up you and Danny both. So I tried this on. I put jeans on for the first time in I don't know 6 months, and I'm a little uncomfortable right now. But you know what? I'll man up and power through it.
All right. Well, Brian had to dress up to make us look bad, but the man who never has to dress up is on the far left-hand side of the screen, Mr. Danny Shard, making sure that all the elk are in place, making sure that the world is in, it's in chaos. He can't do anything about that. How are you, Danny?
I'm doing good. Happy Friday. High Five Nation. Brian Linke, I don't appreciate the outfit today because, you're making us look bad. Nate, I love the hockey jersey. That's how Friday should be. Brian Linke's just, of course, taking it next level and tough to compete against.
One of these days, I'm just going to come in here with my shirt off, and then you guys are going to feel really bad about yourself.
Then I'm gonna feel really terrible.
And I may need to bring some type of something to throw up in, but we'll deal with that. All right. So this morning I want to start out with just us talking a little bit about where are we in the world. We started this High Five back in March when the quarantine, and we all thought this was going to be a couple week thing, and the world just keeps going. And the governor in Indiana just said we're extending our rules that we're currently under for another month yesterday, and we're seeing everything that's gone on in Wisconsin this past week, and the NBA players boycotting or striking, depending which word you want to use, and then following other teams standing up and saying, absolutely, we need to continue this fight against racial injustice. And I was kind of said, let's start with the question this morning. Where are we now? How do we feel now? There's no wrong feelings. This is a feel-good Friday for us. But Brian, Danny, the world is just weird. Where are you now? Where are your emotions as we're going through this, as we're continuing to see record numbers? I saw our dashboard this morning, and green is good, and I saw a lot of green, Danny, but the world is still it's just weird. Gentlemen, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's weird. I've really tried to stop watching the news, but it's tough not to see what's going on out there. It's crazy. And, I feel for all the people that are involved in all different aspects of what's going on right now, from the hurricanes, down south to what's going on up north in Kenosha. It's just a weird time. 2020 just continues to throw curveballs at everybody. And it can be tough to stay focused, right? So we just have to really support who we can support and stay kind of in our lane and, focused on what's best for us and our families. But, I feel for all these people that are going through all this craziness right now. It's a tough time.
Brian, what do you say?
I mean, the thing is, the thing about the hurricane, I mean, obviously that's just a terrible thing. And, growing up in, going to middle school and high school and in the state of Florida and college in the state of Florida. We actually, we had our every year, a couple, 3 times, putting the tape on the windows and doing the whole thing. And luckily we never really had to deal with any of it other than maybe the tail end. When I was in Tallahassee my senior year, we kind of had to deal with the tail end of that. But, those are the kinds of things that aren't in our control. And, hurricanes are something that you can prepare for, which is a good thing, right? I mean, so it's coming. Some of these other acts of, the acts of nature, I guess, right? Sometimes you can't, but as far as like the other stuff, it is just, I mean, it to me it is just like every day, you think that you've seen it all, and then something else happens, like the thing that happened up in Wisconsin, and it's just, and I never really paid a whole lot of attention to the whole protest thing. I don't know why, I just never did, but I think that what's going on right now needs to happen. And the reason that I say that is I just don't think that if it doesn't, that people just aren't listening. And even like the violent protests, and again, obviously I don't condone that, and I think it's a terrible thing. The 17-year-old kid who shot the 2 people and killed them, and but those are the kinds of things that again, if people don't stand up and start doing things to make people realize, like, hey, what is going on here, then I think we'll never move forward. So I don't have a problem with the NBA players or the Major League Baseball players or the WNBA players, because you know what, if they don't take a stand, then nothing's going to change.
I agree. And I mean, the world, there are people that just aren't listening. As the Colts yesterday locally canceled their practice and said they're going to focus on talking about how they can be and impact change in the world, and that as they walk through that, I was reading through just briefly, which is always a dangerous thing, the comment section of the Instagram post that I saw, and saying that they were going to cancel practice. And I realized there are just too many people that just don't get it yet. And the fact is, the voices can't stop till theirs are absolutely quieted and washed out. And so that's what we have to do at this time. Now, that doesn't mean we stop living and we stop growing. And we've got 2 business days less in August, or a little less now. As you know, we're a little bit, in the East Coast, we're pushing in on the halfway point through our business day here. And we've got to keep moving forward. So we're going to do that because we are, I should have had a resilient, just a little tagline there. We were resilient, and so let's be resilient. We're going to talk about some things of, I get to play the role of merchant, and so the first role I'm going to put in is I'm a retailer. You just came in and you are convincing me to go to the Edge program, but you're just telling me that my customers are going to have to pay an extra 4% for the ability and the option to use a credit or debit card. And I really am like, man, I just can't imagine fighting. I can't do 4% for my merchants. I don't want to do any changes. I can't imagine having them pay an extra 4%. Let's go with Mr. Danny Shard. What do you say to me as the merchant?
I say to you as the merchants, the majority of price increases that business owners do on individual products or across all products in their inventory usually is much higher than 4%. What this is doing is really allowing you to present a 2-price model and present it as a discount, a way for your customers to get a lower price point on the products that you sell for paying in cash, which is a less expensive form of payment for them to accept, right? So I would play on that. I would play on the fact that, hey, this is not, as significant as an increase that the majority of business owners typically put on products, but also it still allows it's a way to spin it as a positive to the consumer that they can receive a discount for paying in cash. And I think that's the biggest thing to focus on. Instead of focusing on it being a markup, it's important to focus on it being a discount, right? Which it actually is. There's a beauty in that, in the perception of the consumer, in that they can actually receive a discount for a different form of payment.
So, Brian, what would you add to what Danny said? Anything that you would change in how to discuss that with me as a merchant who just doesn't want to to add 4% to my customers?
Well, let me just say this. Okay. I taught Danny Shard that answer. Okay. So, the fact that you picked him to go first, Nate, I knew as soon as that happened, I was behind the eight ball. But no, I mean, I guess yeah, I mean, just like Danny said, nothing stays the same, right? Ever in life. And prices don't stay the same. I mean, the price of anything compared to the way it was, 30 years ago, I mean, everything, inflation has raised everything. So, especially with this pandemic and, and if merchants want to, use that as a selling point, I guess. But like Danny said, 4%, you walk into a Mexican restaurant and you order a margarita, it's 6.25, in the month of August, and all of a sudden you come back in the month of September and it's 6.75. Nobody's blinking an eye, right? I mean, you're paying the 6.75 no matter what, but when it comes to the 4% on top of the $10 six pack, well, wait a minute, $10.40. Okay, that's never going to happen. So I just think the merchant has to take it upon themselves that if an explanation is due, and I don't, that's the other thing is I don't think you're going to have to explain it nearly as much as what you think. I think people just understand it. And if they don't, then the explanation, and again, we've talked about this before about the gas station analogy, right? I mean, gas stations have been doing this for forever. And, when I'm on these agent recruitment calls, I mean, I talk about it all the time because these guys are like, well, can you explain the cash discount program to me? I said, well, okay, the easiest example to give is the gas station thing. Well, then once they start thinking about that, okay, well, that's exactly what it is, right? I mean, you can still, you want to pay cash for gas, get out of the car, walk inside, hand the guy the money. Okay. And then you're going to pay, the $2.25 a gallon, rather than the $2.37 a gallon or whatever it is. And, I don't know about you two guys, but, I do know about Danny Shard that there's no way that the guy's ever hasn't paid for gas in 33 years. Okay. So, he pulls up to the pump, he puts his card in. I may not even put his card in. He does it with his phone now or something. That's a little bit above my, I'm still learning how to, work an ATM machine. So, I mean, I think it's been going on forever. I just think people are starting to realize it now. And again, I think just the merchant has to, you just have to explain to the merchant, like, yeah, you may have to do some explaining. There's no doubt about it. But again, I think that's few and far between. I think people actually understand it and are okay with it. And if they're not, then they're not, and they may walk out the door, but the savings on the back end far outweigh the one or two people that walk out the door.
Absolutely. And it's so important about framing, how we frame it. One of the ones I've heard one of our partners recently talking about is he was in an area that he was supporting the water district there. And every time they make a transaction, because they've been a government from the beginning of time, you can pay by check and it'll be $27.25, or you can pay by credit card and it's going to be $32. They were significantly more overcharging just for the ability to use a credit card or a debit card. In fact, usually way more than what any of the transaction fees, and they were allowed to do it with compliance because they were a government-based organization. And now, finally, the small and medium businesses, we get to do it. It's our opportunity. Rise up and let us take a little bit of piece, and it's not that much of a burden on the customer. We're going to have to raise prices anyways. Now we get to have them an option where they can get a discount if they need it.
Nothing stays the same, right? I mean, nothing stays the same.
Yep. All right, number 2 here. I'm now your customer. I'm coming in. I talked to, Brian, we're going to start with you this time. And I say, you know what, Brian, I am so frustrated with my current processor. I never know when they're going to take out what money. I have so many things being debited from my account. I never know what money is going to be put in, what money is going to be taken out. I am frustrated. I am tired of this. What options can you give me to make it so it's easier, so I know exactly what money is going into my account and how much I'm going to make?
Again, I think the worst thing you can do in a situation like that is start bad-mouthing the competition. Because I think when you start doing that, it almost sounds like, to me, it sounds like a desperation kind of a thing, in my opinion. again, the soft close, right? I mean, the old sales books. When you're up against something like that, I just think you have to just sympathize with the merchant and just say, listen, you know what? I think I can help you. I'm not 100% sure because, how do I know until I look at what you're doing? So why don't we do this? Why don't you get me a statement? Let me go back. We do a free analysis at PayProTech. It takes a day or two to do. We'll get it. I'll bring it back. We'll sit down together and we'll take a look at it, and we'll see exactly what you're doing. And then you know what? If it makes sense, then you have a decision to make. And if it doesn't make sense, I'll shake your hand. We'll still be friends, and we'll move on to the next thing. But again, I don't know if I can, without looking at it, if I can help you. I think that I can. We're pretty competitive and we have a lot of flexibility. And so let's get the statement. Let's go back to the analysis, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
There you go. Danny, what would you add to that? And maybe even some specific telling them about and helping them understand what pricing models we offer that provide a little more clarity to specifically what's going to be taken out and put into their accounts.
Yeah, sure. When it comes to the Edge program, the cash discounting programs, it's all about merchants having clarity and knowing exactly what to expect, right? So, shout out to Matt Hoskins and some of the development team for really pushing on this for us, that we recently launched out the 4-digit pricing models, right? And so that's like down to a T, exactly what the merchant's collecting is what is being deducted from their batch every day. So they always know exactly what to expect. But even on traditional pricing, right, the flat rate model has been amazing addition to our product offerings and to our pricing programs. For partners to be able to offer a consistent pricing model that, like you're saying, Nate, they know exactly what to expect, right? And that's a major factor how Square got so much business for so long. Is it was 275 on every swipe transaction. People knew what to expect. Of course, their profit margins suffered on the processing side because they were signing up very small merchants and they set the same rate for everybody. And when you sign up these small ticket merchants, small volume merchants with that pricing structure, it's a recipe for disaster to lose money. But if a partner can go in with that same concept, that same model, and analyze the statement like Brian's talking about, right? Like, don't guess. Definitely take a look at it, let the numbers speak for themselves. And if you can give them a consistent pricing model that's not fluctuating like your traditional Interchange Plus would be, then you're going to earn that business every time. A good example of this is we just helped a partner earlier this week close a very large merchant account, and we did 3 months of statement analysis. The merchant was currently on a rate, I think it was 25 basis points and 6 cents, I want to say, transaction. But they were doing about 50,000 a month. Over those 3 months, their effective rates fluctuated 10 to 15 basis points. It was 2.3, 2.42, 2.48. I mean, it was kind of all over the place, right? So their pitch to the merchant is, you actually have a pretty good rate. I can save you a little bit of money, but what I'm also going to give you is consistency, so you know exactly what to expect every time. And we're going to eliminate these other fees like PCI and assessments and access fees, kind of the additional line items that really just jumble up the statement and make it look like a bunch of junk fees. We're going to simplify that. So we're going to put you on a rate of 2.25%. You're going to save some money from what you're seeing today, but more importantly, you're going to know exactly what to expect every day, every month of what you're going to be paying. That consistency for business owners is key. If they're not doing a cash discount program, they want to stick traditional. If you can have a consistent pricing structure like that, it's going to help you get business every time.
You know what's so funny about this whole thing? Okay. Danny Shark could be the smartest guy in this entire industry. Okay, because
No.
I mean, explaining that. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, just awesome. But it just shows you that you can sell 2 different ways, right? I mean, Danny gets so specific on things like that. I mean, if I sold that way, if that's what I did when I went in to talk to a merchant at this point in my life, okay, I'd end up confusing myself because I couldn't remember one thing from the next. Okay, so I just kind of go in there and sell myself and sell the the sympathetic kind of thing with the merchant, and get the statement, bring it back, do the analysis, and then go back and actually read the numbers off the sheet. So it just goes to show that the agents that are listening that there's all kinds of different ways to do this. And the way Danny Shard does it, I mean, it's amazing. It's awesome. Brian Linke can't sell that way. Brian Linke sells the way Brian Linke sells, and I'm not sure that I don't think one's wrong and one's right. I think it's just two different ways of doing it, and so it just goes to show you that my way. If you're not scared, you'll be okay. If you're scared, you're not going to do well. And with Danny's way, I'm not sure you can say no. So.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that, and I think it's just really important for everybody to understand that. Cash discounting is massive, obviously, right? It's one of the best programs that our industry's seen in a long time to generate business, to get merchants to consider switching, increase profit margins. I mean, there's a lot of factors that can go in and make cash discounting such a positive pitch to get new business. But it's still not for everybody, right? We're seeing a massive amount of merchants transitioning to cash discounting, but we're also seeing a lot of merchants sticking to more traditional pricing models. So if you can adjust your pricing from that old historical interchange plus structure that, let's be honest, it just leaves merchants guessing what they're going to see at the end of the month, give them a consistent pricing model, right? And the competition does not have flat rate pricing like we've set up here. That's eliminating all the other fees, gives you complete flexibility to add a transaction fee if you want, add a monthly fee if you want, eliminate things like PCI compliance, just really simplify your conversations. Use this to your advantage, right? So if the cash discounting is not the thing, then you want to go to consistency, bookkeeping, how easy it's going to be for them to understand exactly what they're going to be billed every month. So there's no guessing games. I think as a partner, you want to start looking at pricing merchants this way because it's going to make your accounts a lot stickier. It's going to make the competition it's going to make it a lot more difficult for the competition, I should say, to come in and know how they can save your merchant money. The flat rate pricing structures, they don't show what the interchange cost is. We don't know how much margin is in there. And that was always a challenge for all of us as we were competing against Square, right? We were completely guessing, basing on type of business and average transaction. Here's around what your interchange should be. I think I can save you this. That's what you're competing against whenever you're looking at a flat rate pricing structure versus interchange plus. So it's going to help make your portfolio a lot more sticky and a lot more difficult for the competition to take the deals when you got pricing structures like this.
Man, you guys are awesome. That was a perfect discussion, what I was hoping for. And I was right. I came up with 7 scenarios. We're only going to get through 3 because I don't want to take all day. We'll do this again. So, Danny, I'm going to come back to you on this one. So I'm a merchant. I'm a restaurant owner. I've been in restaurant owner for 20 plus years. In 2012, I spent $15,000 on my POS equipment, but it's already outdated and I am frustrated. And I am doing $75,000 a month. But man, I just don't want to spend any more money on hardware. I spent so much and I don't have $15,000 when I've been a restaurant owner right now to make a change, but I know I need to make some changes. I don't have the ability to do online ordering. There's so many things I need and I'm so frustrated. Danny, what do I do?
Okay. Now you just put that one on a T for him. Okay. Okay. He's about to raise his left leg and just hit the ball over the fence.
I love that question, and I'm hoping, and we're actually hearing of a lot of partners that are coming across merchants like that, right? Where either they have spent a significant amount of money and their systems are just outdated. Let's be honest, Nate, you know this probably more than I would, is what's the average lifespan of the technology of hardware and software in these point of sale systems? I'd go on a limb and say 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's going faster. Now, the iPad and the Air cloud-based systems are going to be able to be updated a little bit more. But even the iPads, if you had a iPad-based system early on and you're using a Gen 1 iPad or those iPad Air 2s, you're already getting slow and systems are being funky and you're like, how my new stuff won't work on it. So it's quick. You're right.
So Danny says 3 to 5 years, and at my age, it seems like it's 3 to 5 weeks.
It's fast. I mean, and to a business owner, it's fast, right? I mean, obviously things go quick. Before you know it, 3 years have passed, and all of a sudden you're going to have to update your hardware. You're going to have to update your software. You're going to have to get this and that. And like you said, Nate, you're going to have to spend thousands of more dollars. And to the business owner, it's like, I just spent that, right? I don't want to do this again. And it's like, how do I avoid this? How can I get this equipment that I need to manage my business properly without having to constantly buy all this hardware and worry about these upgrades? And it comes with placement programs, right? So these placements that we did a show on this week is really where we see the direction of point of sale systems and how it's going to be the best bang for your buck, if you will, or lack of buck from a merchant's perspective, right? Getting them into these new systems. Now they're going to be in a contract, right? So they've got to stick with us, and that's what's beneficial to you as the partner. But we can give these systems to them at no cost if they can qualify for them based on volume and how they're set up. So if we can get these merchants into these placement systems, then we're going to always be able to upgrade them and keep their accounts up and running without them having to spend all this money on the hardware. These are the programs that these merchants want. And I'm glad you positioned it that way, Nate, because I think a lot of partners need to look at that. And that should be a big part of your pitch when you're talking to merchants about point of sale systems. You know, like, let's look at one of these systems here. These are going to do everything you need it to do. And we've got placement options. So instead of you having to come out of pocket on the hardware and then come out of pocket again 5 years from now, whenever you need to update hardware, jump onto our placement program, process with us, let us take care of it for you.
Absolutely. Brian, do you have anything to add? I did set that up on a tee. I gave you the harder one because you can handle it because you're dressed. You're dressed to kill.
The thing is, again, Dan. I mean, that's an amazing answer. I'm not sure there could be another answer other than, again, the old school way of doing it. Just being sympathetic towards the merchant, because again, even, when I first got into this industry, when we first started getting into the point of sale thing. And this is what I'll tell a merchant, when he says, I just spent I spent $15,000. I don't want to spend any more money. Well, you know what? I felt the same way. I'm like, okay, how in the world do you sell any of this stuff? If you have to walk into a guy's, restaurant and say, okay, you know what, this is $15,000. I mean, let me tell you something. Again, I think I'm the best salesperson in this company, but I'm just not sure that I could walk into a little restaurant and try to convince somebody to drop 15 grand on a piece of hardware. So, again, PaperTech has done an amazing thing, with this POSlead.com and with those guys. We talk about them all the time with Matt Proctor and Robert Kramer and Morgan and Morgan Normmeyer down there. But yeah, no, right. I mean, we have all these different programs, and again, these are some of the recruiting things and I think this is one of the things that separates us from our competition.
All right, so we'll get through more of these scenarios again in a future High Five episode. If you have ideas or things that you'd like these guys to give their input on, send it over to me at nate@papertech.com. I would love to put that in, have some of your feedback on there. Now, we're going to finish up today with some PayProTech heroes. We want to celebrate, and I didn't even totally set these guys up. Just celebrate people that are standing up, that are doing something right, that we can celebrate either inside or outside of PayProTech. I have no idea what these guys are going to say. I'm going to let them go first in case they take mine, and I'll come up with a guy. I think I have 3 in my head that I can go through, so I don't think they can take all 3. Mr. Brian Linke, I'll let you go first today. Who is your PayProTech hero this week?
Again, I'm the most biased person in the world, right? To the people on my team and the people that I work with, and I'm the guy who talks highly and for a reason. So I'm just gonna. I mean, this is an easy one, really, for me, especially this week. And I'm gonna use the 2 girls in my office, Jen Sales and Pamela Bailey. And Jen has become the Pay Anywhere guru. Okay. And I've got some merchants that are using a lot of Pay Anywhere equipment. We've had some issues, some technical, I guess, issues. And Jen has gotten on the phone with the agent, with the merchant, with North American Banker, with anybody that we needed her to get on the phone with Pay Anywhere. Again, when Brian Linke, breaks rule number 1, which Danny Shard tells me I break every single day, and when I panic, Jen has just done an amazing job. Not only with the agent, but with NAB, with Pay Anywhere, and she's just not afraid to get on the phone with the merchant either. So Jen Sales is definitely one of them. And then we've actually been and Nate, this is a credit to you and to Danny. We've been getting these leads, more of them now lately than ever before, and we've had a lot of conversations, and we're sending out a lot of packets, and things are moving and shaking here. And I've been putting a lot of stuff on Pam Bailey to get done for me, just because what takes her 2 minutes takes me 2 weeks. So Pam has just done an amazing job of keeping everything up to date, and keeping and again getting on the the thing about the two of them, and again and this is no takeaway to Jason Lee Cook and to Jenny Reichel, because they're the same way, but the four of them, they're just not afraid of anything, and they will get on the phone with your merchant. They'll definitely talk to the agent. They'll talk to NAB. They'll talk to Pay Anywhere. So yeah, with Pam, with the stuff that I've been putting on her this week, there's definitely she's definitely a hero. So Jen Sales and Pam Bailey are my two.
All right, Mr. Danny Shard, for you, Pay Protect Hero.
That's really good, and I'm actually going to go in that same direction. Jen Sales, Pam Bailey are amazing. I wish I got to work with them every day like Brian does, but I get the pleasure of working with Jason Lee Cook and Jennifer Rickel, two ladies in my office, and I'm going to vote for them this week. I'll tell you, they have had a tough week. My confidence was a little higher this week than normal. I got a new truck, so my head was a little bigger than usual, and these girls had to take a lot of verbal I won't say abuse, but
I'll say abuse.
But Danny Shard can't always be the easiest one to work with, and although I think of it as motivating, they might think of it as not motivating. So they've got to take some heat, and I can't thank them enough for putting up with me on a regular basis. So shout out to Jennifer Rickel and Jason Lee Cook. They're two of the toughest for having to deal with me. Well, and I will say, as where I put a new link in, I can bring some of our comments in if you are on the Facebook page or if you're on YouTube. Bradley, also nice to know she's knowledgeable on Pay Anywhere. I'll remember that. That's helpful for Jen Sales. I want to celebrate as I do that. Bradley will be Alton call Jen Sales.
Yeah, sorry, Jen. But
as soon as this call's over with, I'm walking down the hallway and I'm telling her.
All right, but I think
she's listening though.
Well, she could be. There are currently 87 people listening live in some way in our different placements. So maybe Jen is one of them. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go outside. And I have been watching. I do watch a lot of news. I mostly through Twitter, which is dangerous, I know. But one of the people that I follow and has just, I think, shown such leadership is an Indianapolis native, went to Broad Ripple High School, and I'm going outside of the Pay Protect world. He went to IUPUI, won world championships with the Spurs, and then played for the Pacers for a while, but now is finishing up his career in basketball in the Milwaukee Bucks. And he, through his leadership, really, and his voice, as Wisconsin is going through something that is difficult and hard, his words of wisdom, his call to action was really impressive, and that's George Hill. And so I like to celebrate people that are local. I've never had the chance to meet him, but I just like hearing voices of people who have been where I've walked and gone to places that I've been to, and now is standing on a platform that he never would want to be and talking about issues that he doesn't want to have to talk about, but he is taking the baton and doing that well, and I wanted to call him out as a hero. All right, gentlemen,
it's the only time that IUPUI has ever gone to the NCAA tournament is with George Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. See, sports facts with Brian Lincoln.
They played Kentucky in the first round, which wasn't, didn't end well, but
didn't work out well.
They still made it to the dance.
There we go. All right, so let me bring up a little bit of music. I realized I didn't put it over here. I gotta switch over. Gentlemen, as we close out today, what would you make your closing words? As it's a Friday, we had a little bit of frenzy, we had a little bit of fun, we got some really good interaction about how sales professionals deal with objections they may be hearing out in the field. But we're finishing up August. We're staring down. Tuesday starts September. Brian Linke, what do you say to our sales team, to those who are considering working with us, to those who are ready to take their payment professional job to another level?
Again, there's 2 days in the month left, and two business days left, and saw the numbers this morning, and we're on pace again to break records. Unbelievable! Like during this whole pandemic, June, July, and August of 2020 have been the 3 best months in the history of the company. So, I mean, if you're not excited to work for this company now, in the cash discount world, in the POS world, in the white label branding world, then you never will be. So again, get excited about it. 2 days left. Get the deals in.
All right, Mr. Danny Shard, what say you?
Yeah, like Brian said, 2 days left in the month. Time to finish strong, Friday and Monday. But right now is the time to partner with us. We've got better compensation structures, more programs, ability to do placements on a variety of point of sale systems, flexibility with pricing, price the way you want with flat rate, and simplify it and get more merchants. I mean, partner with us. Let's sign up and let's do some business here to close the year.
All right, gentlemen, as we close out and I bring the real music up, we say high five to everybody. We're so thankful. We're going to be live again next Wednesday and Friday. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll see as the topics and discussions, but we're going to be here. We are here for you. We're here because we love helping you build your business and grow as entrepreneurs, as building your payments business. PaperTech, we're here. High five. We can't be next to you, so we say a virtual high five, everybody. The high five.